The DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook speculation will not end, and that's all it is in this video. No substantive reports or even rumors, really, just to save your time if that's what you thought it might be. But Adam Schefter went on with Pat McAfee, and essentially he said, hey, these two guys could go to the Jets. Wouldn't that be neat? That's all it was. Now, because Adam Schefter said it and he's an insider, it gets all this circulation, but it's like if you asked a scientist if there was water on Mars and he'd be like, hey man, that'd be dope. Okay, a scientist said it, but it doesn't mean anything. So, and I think with the Jets fans, it's very polar, right? Either DeAndre Hopkins, Dalvin Cook, you're all in, let's go right now, all gas, no break. Anyone who doesn't want these guys isn't a Jet fan and hates football. Or it's these guys are old and washed and lazy or bad for our culture. And obviously, as always, the truth usually lies somewhere in the middle. And I think there are valid points on both sides. So with Hopkins, it's my sense that I just don't have anything tangible to connect DeAndre Hopkins to the New York Jets. You know, Albert Breer reported that the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills are the two teams that had the most substantive trade talks, as he put it, with Arizona to trade for the receiver. And then we haven't really heard anything about those two teams since then. And then we know he's visiting with the Patriots. We know he's visiting with the Tennessee Titans. Now, DeAndre Hopkins did kind of give like a weird head shake no when asked about the Jets like a couple months ago, but he made that same shake to the Patriots, and now he's visiting with them. So that doesn't rule anything out for me. Robert Saleh kind of semi-shut it down, but you know, he said that he's loved his position group X, Y, or Z, and then they bring in somebody new anyway. So look, with Hopkins, he's not the DeAndre Hopkins that's going to put up an all-pro season and be mossing people over double teams and get a 1,500-yard campaign anymore. He's not that. But what frustrates me with sports discourse is the word washed. You say that, and we act as if this guy can't contribute at all to a winning football team anymore, and I don't think that's true. DeAndre Hopkins brings two things to this wide receiver room that would be sorely lacking outside of Garrett Wilson, and that is the route running in the hands. DeAndre Hopkins and probably Larry Fitzgerald, the two best sets of hands of any receivers like of my lifetime. Just incredibly sticky hands. A guy who can stack receivers, box them out, get in position. I'm bigger than you. I have a huge catch radius, and I'm going to catch the football when it's thrown my way. And we look at the rest of this wide receiver room. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a Corey Davis truther, but come on, DeAndre Hopkins might go to the Hall of Fame. And I think Corey Davis on his best day, when he's healthy, is a capable wide receiver too. DeAndre Hopkins just last season was putting up 80 yards a game, still on his all-pro stat trajectory with no quarterback play to speak of. And he's a player who has produced no matter who his quarterback has been, with defenses solely trying to take him out of the game. DeAndre Hopkins has produced. And Corey Davis has been unavailable. And he's got a little bit of the dropsies too. Allen Lazard, I'm just got to speak bluntly about what we have so we're all on the same page. If you think Corey Davis sucks, you will hate Allen Lazard. I promise you. I've watched all of his games, and I'm not a trained scout, but you know drops when you see them, and Allen Lazard has putrid hands. Now, his former coach called him a goon, guy who does the dirty work. He's the anti-diva wide receiver. He's going to block his ass off. Every wide receiver room in the NFL could use an Allen Lazard on it, and I'm glad ours does too. But please, him and DeAndre Hopkins, it's not the same stratosphere. It's not. Mecole Hardman, again, love the signing, especially for the money. One of the best value acquisitions of the year, him and Chuck Clark, but he is not a polished route runner. And he has subpar hands, and he doesn't have any contested catch ability. He has a small catch radius. So I think if you were to move on from Corey Davis, and if you could do that for the same amount of money that you guarantee Hopkins, so say you cut Corey Davis, you save $11 million, and you could sign Hopkins and guarantee him $11-12 million with the potential to earn up to 16, 17, 18 if he balls the heck out, then that's something you'd have to consider, because now your wide receiver room really falls into place. Garrett Wilson's your stud number one. DeAndre Hopkins is a third down red zone machine where if you're aiming to take away Garrett Wilson and DeAndre Hopkins is one-on-one with the corner, he's going to get to his spot, he's going to get position, and when Aaron Rodgers puts the ball near him, he's going to catch it. He's going to catch it. And we don't, and as much as I like different parts of the other players' games in this wide receiver room, we don't have another guy that we could say that about confidently. Now, is it a 1 year or 2 year deal? That's a huge difference to me, because if it is a 2 year deal, he's right around that age. Typically, wide receivers like 32 kind of seems to be that magic number, man, where you see it with when we had Brandon Marshall, right? One really good year, then falls off a cliff, or AJ Green or Julio Jones. So I think if you sign him to a 2 year deal, a very likely outcome is you get a player like Brandon Marshall who comes in reignited with a new team, balls out. It feels like a great acquisition. And the second year, it kind of falls to crap. Look, I don't know. If I could come to Corey Davis and have him take a pay cut and I could have him for 1 year, $8 million, or I got to pony up 2 years, $30 million for Hopkins, I'm probably just going to roll with Corey Davis and have the flexibility of having him off the books and then navigate the wide receiver room for next year. But if I can get it on a 1 year incentive-laden deal, pay him like a highly paid player if he produces like one, I'm doing that for DeAndre Hopkins all day long. He changes your Super Bowl trajectory significantly. I think that, if the Buffalo Bills are honest, one of the reasons they haven't done it all is because when teams go to take away Stephon Diggs, they don't have that dude to make him pay. And Gabe Davis is a very similar kind of player to Corey Davis and Allen Lazard. And look, if that's the best we can do, I'll roll with those guys. But Hopkins is on a different level. There's levels to this, and Hopkins is on a different level. So I'm interested for sure. Now, Dalvin Cook. The advanced analytics are pretty putrid. So he can't break tackles like he used to. He's not as elusive as he used to. He drops more passes and fumbles more balls than you'd like. So trading for his contract was never an option. And even paying him $5-6 million, I just think it's too prohibitive. For me, he is a player that his game is vision and speed. When there's big holes there, he's going to find them. And he has the acceleration and the breakaway speed to make big plays. He had the most number of carries for 0 or negative yards, but then he was way up there in carries for 10 yards or more. So he is a all or nothing home run hitter. And you looked at when the Vikings beat our nemesis, the Buffalo Bills last year, he rips off a 75-yard touchdown run. That ends up being the difference in the game. So yeah, if he rips off 7 or 8 huge explosive runs over the course of the season, could that move the needle of us winning one more game and hosting a home playoff game instead of going on the road? And then the domino effect of what happens thereafter. Yes, he could be that difference. And you might also say, well, we have Izzy Abanikanda, who's a home run threat. And yeah, there is a world where rookie Izzy Abanikanda is better than 28-year-old Dalvin Cook by the way running backs age and how quick they're ready to play. There's a chance that happens. But Dalvin Cook, if you can get an inexpensive hedge against that bet, and it costs you whatever, $3 million guaranteed, and if Izzy does come out like a bat out of hell, and then you can flip one of these running backs at the trade deadline, it gives you options. It gives you options, and it definitely raises the floor of your running back room. So there it is. Both of these guys, I'm interested on 1 year incentive laden deals. If I had to eat a second year on D-Hop, I'd probably do it, man, because I think he moves the needle for a Super Bowl this year that significantly. But we'll see. It's all speculation. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll talk all soon.